Huskers 20, Boston College 15. And this group of seniors, Sean, will leave as champions and as winners. What's your big takeaway here from Yankee Stadium?
You know, it's been just such a climb to get to this moment. And, you know, you chuckle, oh, 6 wins. But look, for Nebraska to get to 7 wins, you know, you don't take this for granted because we've had a lot of rough Decembers going back to really 2017, and for Nebraska to leave New York City with a quality win, and look, that was a dominant performance in a lot of respects, other than 2 special teams plays that almost changed the game, but the defense looked dominant, the offense executed. You really like the direction it's going with Dana Holgorsen.
Rahmir Johnson, what can you say about the 6-year senior? He finished his career in storybook fashion, really. He scores a touchdown early on, is named the game's most valuable player.
And on his final run, he got to 1,000 yards career rushing. And this is a kid that has battled injury throughout his entire career at Nebraska with shoulders and other issues that he's battled. And so to finish it out at home, and as Matt Rule said, I hope he rides the subway, wears his pads on the subway, and walks into his apartment with that MVP trophy. And, you know, I thought Nebraska, for being in the Midwest, there were so many New York area connections on this roster with Rahmir Johnson and Cam Lenhard, and you go down the line. I mean, there were so many guys, even with New Jersey ties, to play here was a special week for a lot of these players.
Yeah, Quentin Ives grew up just outside Philadelphia, about an hour and a half south of here, and you really do have to feel for Rahmir Johnson losing his mother, Angela, in November. I want to ask you about the defense because they came up big, especially in crucial situations.
You know, the 4th downs, and look, Boston College, we don't get to watch them a lot, but you realize they didn't kick field goals really all year. I think they just had 4, and they missed 1 here, and I think that was enough for Bill O'Brien to pull the plug and say, look, we're playing 4-down football. And that is a challenge, especially when you're playing a pro coach like Bill O'Brien. He's well schemed in what he does. And for him to go for the 4th downs, I mean, I thought that was pretty, you know, just changed the strategy for Nebraska's defense.
The Huskers win the game but lose the turnover battle. They finished -1 on the day, -2 for the season, but in the big picture, still 15 turnovers better than last season, so they're moving in the right direction.
Yeah, that was a key for the year, just the ball security, the cleanup. And look, you take away the QB runs and the things that Nebraska had to live on, a lot of the turnovers are happening on those kinds of plays where you forced your QB to do a lot of design runs. I think that was one of the bigger areas where we saw the improvement with the change in offense with Dylan Raiola and the way he handles the ball and the way they utilize him. And he's able to make those short throws that previous Nebraska quarterbacks struggled to make consistently.
Obviously, special teams will be a hot-button topic in the offseason. Where do they go from here?
Andy Kendi, 10 block kicks for Nebraska on the year.
Almost cost him today dearly.
This is where you need like the Elias Sports Bureau to pull up some data on that, because that is a stat that
it's staggering. There's no other way to put it.
And they have 2 in this game, 2 critical ones that almost allowed Boston College to win this game. If not for Nebraska getting the penalty on Dylan Raiola where he was late hit and finishing it off, BC was going to get another opportunity potentially to win this game. And we've been there, done that. We own the T-shirt, the bumper sticker, and the last thing you wanted to see was Nebraska be put in that position again.
Obviously, that's a priority in the offseason. What does the offseason look like for this team?
Well, the portal is still open technically, I think, for 5 days after the bowl game for players here at Nebraska. So you got to keep your eyes on some of those things. Pro decisions with players. I think there's a couple guys that might have a decision on their hand if they want to come back another year. Nebraska's added 11 portal players. They can have visitors starting again on January 1. Offensive line is a big issue or big targeting area where they're going after players right now. So I would think Nebraska is going to take at least 2 more offensive linemen and then potentially some other difference maker players that make sense. But right now they feel really good about the 11 players they've added. I believe almost all of them, if not all, have signed already with the Huskers.
Matt Rule says it all kicks back up January the 20th. And don't forget the season opener for 2025, Thursday, August the 28th at Arrowhead Stadium in Kansas City.